His taxi has been burnt. We are not the poorest nation in Africa. I repeat again, we are not the poorest nation in Africa. To get to that place where Cameroonians, let me ask you guys a question. Your GDP is approximately 45 billion US dollars. Have you looked at poor nations in Africa and what they are going through? Compare yourself to understand where you find yourself, because it's only by comparison that you know if you're broke or you're rich. It's by comparison. Have you done that comparison? Have you done that analysis? At least benchmark yourself with other nations. You guys are doing fine in Cameroon. And how do you coordinate your life in a way that at the end you said, at least I came on earth and I made a difference? And not follow dogma. Because where we are going, if you are slow, you'll be left behind. We are about to turn Cameroon to be one of the biggest tech hubs. In Africa. The GDP of America is approximately 25 trillion US dollar. The GDP of the entire continent of Africa is not up to 4 trillion. The GDP of America is 25 trillion US dollars. And we have people in this amazing nation sleeping on the street. If you don't take your destiny in your hands, you end up here. You must get to the place where you cease to think, feel, and act as a human, to act like an animal. All those guys that you hold in high esteem abroad, giving you orders to go on the ground, terrorize your own people. These guys are human beings like you. They go to the toilet and they poop. They get hungry in the middle of the night, raid the refrigerator and eat. They are human beings like you. They get into arguments with their spouses like you. They say foolish things at times like you. But based on what we have seen, they say foolish things most of the time. Life, again, write it down, is suffering. That is why a flawless, innocent man was crucified, and it's a symbol for the remission of sins. Seeing all that crowd, that is where those people live. Because in as much as the idea here is that life is full of pain and you gotta make your own way, the American dream, right? You gotta make that dream become a reality for you. If you do not work hard, it doesn't matter whether you're black or white, you will sleep on the streets. These are thousands of people sleeping on the streets. That's California. Thousands of people sleeping on the streets. You see these little tents? These are people's homes in the United States of America. So when you are looking at your situation back home, my question to you is, what are you comparing it to? There are people in every community that feel like they have been cheated. And these individuals, is not like they are lame, they are crippled, they have 2 hands and they have 2 legs. I just want to scroll through these footages. These are all homeless people. And these are the things that I look at, I observe, and it changed my perspective about life. And I said, there's no excuse. If you don't make it in life, it's up to you. And if you still hold a gun and somehow you're thinking that you go kill another person, take control over a territory, and somehow prosperity will come, that kind of mindset is ludicrous. Some of you even live in houses and you don't pay rent. And the landlord doesn't bother you. Some people go up to a year, even 2, 3, or even 4, 5 years, they don't pay rent. You try that for 6 months in this country, you're gonna get it hard. You don't pay your electricity bill on time, they cut it off. You stay in darkness. It's automatic. They hit a button and your light goes off. You don't pay for electricity bill, you don't pay for your phone bill. Do they tell you all of this? It goes off instantly. Nothing is given. You gotta work hard for it. If you're in the diaspora, back me up with this.
Papa God,
his taxi has been burnt because he did not change the color of his taxi from yellow, as we all know it, to white and blue. This is Bamenda. This is Bamenda. This is our story. Do you think those who are initiating these laws are dumb people? No. They are so-called intellectuals. The easiest way for you to manipulate people today, go get a doctorate degree and have it behind your name. Or just go get a doctor, put it behind your name, pass laws. It is valid. It makes sense. You've thought about it because of your academic qualification. The decision is rational. My people, there is a quote that I got today from a book that I was studying. And it said, the best way to predict the future is to invent it. That is the best way to predict the future. For those who have a rational inclination to pursue this cause and have boys on the ground with guns fighting, my question to you is, if you say President Paul Biya has not provided for you the ring road, he has not provided for you the federal system that you wanted, and you feel like people should die because President Paul Biya has not provided those things for you, I have a question for you. Have you followed through with all the promises you've made for yourself and for your family right up to this point? Because this is the reality, right? We look at the president and somehow we think it's a superhuman being, somebody that emerged from the sky. And I just want us to be a little bit human, because the way we are going about things, most of these individuals have lost their humanity. You must get to the place where you cease to think, feel, and act as a human, to act like an animal. You must get to a dark place, right? So my question again is, have you fulfilled all the promises? Maybe you were planning to go lose weight. You went into the gym 2-3 days and you quit. Did you punish yourself and hold yourself to that standard for the rest of your life because you failed? Again, Anglophones, President Paul Biya was once a kid in our community, like anyone else, running around, playing soccer like anyone else. And I want to let you guys know, no one got it together. Okay? And the president is a human being. Blood runs through his veins like everyone else, because the way they've painted the picture to you is like you see somebody up there that looks superficial. No, it's a human being. Get up, eat like everybody else. You see all those guys that you hold in high esteem abroad, giving you orders to go on the ground, terrorize your own people. These guys are human beings like you. They go to the toilet and they poop. They get hungry in the middle of the night, raid the refrigerator and eat. They are human beings like you. They get into arguments with their spouses like you. They say foolish things at times like you. But based on what we have seen, they say foolish things most of the time. And I'm just helping you understand that we gotta let all these positions of maybe leader, president, all that, and just be humans. You failed your wife sometimes. You've failed your girlfriend sometimes. You failed your mother, your father sometimes in life. And your parents have failed you too. And if not, they failed us a lot, right? And all of this idea, this brother just lost the taxi. This is a source of livelihood for this brother. I want you to pay attention to this video because we are going somewhere. We are going to unpack a lot. It will blow your mind. You have perspective so you can make sense of your life. You can have direction in life. You can have purpose in life. Why you even exist in the first place. And how do you coordinate your life in a way that at the end you said, at least I came on earth and I made a difference. And not follow dogma. And not follow illiterates because you think they went into a classroom and they have a doctorate degree behind their names. Stay glued to your screen. We are going somewhere. I'm here for you. You watching me. Not some leader, not some president. No, for you, the average individual in the community. Let's keep watching.
Papa God,
The mortal remains of late Dr. Ngong Innocent, Mayor of Bello Council, and late Dr. Agi Aaron Ngong, Inspector of Basic Education for Bello Subdivision, have been deposited at the Bamenda Regional Hospital mortuary. Both sons from Bello Subdivision, Boyo Division of the Northwest Region of Cameroon, were both shot and killed on May 20, 2024 on their way to the Bello ceremonial ground from the Bello Council premises. Family members, friends, and well-wishers could not hold their tears on Tuesday, May 21, 2024, when both corpses arrived the morgue. At hand to receive the...
These are hard-working people in our community that have worked extremely hard to make something out of their lives. And they have been brutally killed like that. Their families will never see them again. I'm saying this to say, if you pick up a gun and bring down figures, individuals like this in your community, because someone in the diaspora you've never seen told you to do so, I mean, it's absurd. Now, when you look at war, because this might be the first time you guys are getting into armed conflict like this. But before you started, there are individuals that have fought wars that compared to what you are doing right now, you are just still warming up. And I thought maybe I read a couple of tragic incidents that have happened over history so that you have perspective on what you're doing and why it is very, very unnecessary to engage yourself in a conflict like this in the 21st century. Now, before I get into that, there is a reason why you see Europe adopted Christianity. When we talk about Christianity, in a typical African community, we are looking at some savior in the sky that will perform miracles for us. When we talk of Jesus Christ, when we talk of God, that is the image that comes to our mind. That is the perspective that we have about God. Somebody that will provide miracles for you and do everything for you. But do you know how those in the West perceive God and why Jesus Christ has been able to work for them? Because they look at God or look at Jesus as someone that was perfect, innocent, flawless, yet crucified unjustly. He said, if you want to follow me, you gotta deny yourself, pick up your cross, and follow me if you want to be my disciple. That is a very powerful statement. When you hear that, I mean, we are looking at the pastor interpreting it so that we can hear signs and wonders. But that simply means life is suffering. The death of Jesus Christ is evident that unjust things will happen to you. Right? Life is full of pain. How can someone be that perfect? Yet we crucified him. And then we want to look at our president, and then we have all of these expectations, or we look at our nation and we have all of these expectations. And I want to say, life is suffering. And when humans deny this mere fact and think somebody is responsible or somebody is promising you that somehow they will take away suffering from you because of their policies, they are selling you something. Life, again, write it down, is suffering. That is why a flawless, innocent man was crucified, and it's a symbol for the remission of sins. He said, in this life you have tribulations. And I'm saying this to help us have perspective, because when you say you are in pain in Cameroon, my question to you is, what are you measuring it with? Because you must measure two things to find out if one is better or the other, right? You must measure two things. When you say you have this tragic experience in Cameroon, or life is unbearable in Cameroon, what are you comparing it to? Maybe you've watched a movie from America and you look at the standard of life from some of your siblings that have traveled abroad, and then you're measuring the quality of life you thought you would have been experiencing in Cameroon compared to that individual in the diaspora. Maybe that is your comparison. But the staggering reality is that most of these individuals that traveled abroad, they had to become a different human being to achieve that level of success. It was the same person back home struggling, but they arrived America or arrived Europe, and they realized if you don't work hard, you will sleep on the street. And the same human being became someone else to achieve that level of success. Not all make it. That is why it's just a fraction of people that you see come abroad and come back home rich. It's not everybody that comes back home. And if they think maybe Cameroon is the problem, then you have many Cameroonians in the diaspora running businesses, and it's not the case. Are you guys understanding my logic? And it's based on this analysis that you're understanding that life is really suffering. It's tough everywhere. Regardless of where you find yourself, life is tough. I just thought I'd scroll through some footages here and show you that life is suffering. I was born and raised in Bamenda. It was rare for me to see people from Bamenda sleeping on the street. It was rare, except it was a madman, somebody that maybe doesn't have their head all together. But it was rare to see people sleep on the street or don't have a house to live in. This footage that I'm scrolling through, this is the United States of America. Okay? These are all homeless people.
Are abandoned buildings.
They don't have
highlighting
a house to live in. Are you seeing all that crowd? That is where those people live. Because in as much as the idea here is that life is full of pain and you gotta make your own way, the American dream, right? You gotta make that dream become a reality for you. If you do not work hard, it doesn't matter whether you're black or white, you will sleep on the streets. These are thousands of people sleeping on the streets. That's California. Thousands of people sleeping on the streets. You see these little tents? These are people's homes in the United States of America. So when you are looking at your situation back home, my question to you is, what are you comparing it to? What are you comparing it to that gives you the rationale to rise up and say, no, I gotta fight, I gotta die, I gotta kill somebody because I feel like I've been cheated? Everyone, everywhere around the world feels the same way. There are people in every community that feel like they have been cheated. And these individuals, it's not like they are lame, they are crippled, they have two hands and they have two legs. I just want to scroll through these footages. These are all homeless people. And these are the things that I look at, I observe, and it changed my perspective about life. And I said, there's no excuse. If you don't make it in life, it's up to you. And if you still hold a gun and somehow you're thinking that you go kill another person, take control over a territory, and somehow prosperity will come, that kind of mindset is ludicrous. Let me just keep scrolling. This it doesn't know color, right? You black people, white people, they are all on the street. This is the reality. You think white people are not homeless? They are right here in the United States of America, the most prosperous nation on earth. I just want to keep going through this footage so that you see. Florida, homeless people, right? Homeless people everywhere. They don't have a house. They don't have a place to go. They are all homeless. White people, black people in the best nation on earth. The GDP of America is approximately 25 trillion US dollar. The GDP of the entire continent of Africa is not up to 4 trillion. The GDP of America is 25 trillion US dollars. And we have people in this amazing nation sleeping on the street. And if you don't take your destiny in your hands, you end up here. And I'm not saying everyone that ends up here is because they didn't take their destiny into their hands. Some of it is drugs related. Some of it is poor choices and poor decisions. And that is why they find themselves here. So when you pick up a gun to go shoot another person, thinking that it will give you freedom, and someone is out here manipulating you, what do you base your premise on to say your people are suffering? Do you know how many people are being locked up unjustly right here, even here in the United States of America? I'm saying this to say there's pain everywhere around the world. The problem in the Anglophone zone is terrible leaders, so-called intellectuals that have been frustrated in their own personal lives and cannot just enjoy that pain alone. They have to spread it out or express it in some form so that they can have many other people go through a similar pain like they are going through. That is the reality. And young people, I'm saying this to say, if you don't work hard right now, we are about to turn Cameroon to be one of the biggest tech hubs. Yeah, in Africa. We are going to do that. Through situations and circumstances like this, it brings out the best in you, and you look at it and you're like, what's going on? Why should these people be in pain? For what reason? You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. There's enormous opportunities out here for our people to be struggling, and we can do something about it. Those who want to work hard, they get the opportunity and they change their lives. Those who don't want to, you will still end up in some homeless situation. It might not be necessarily that you slept on the street or you sleep on the street, but you will not have money enough to go out and have fun the way you expected to. So these are homeless people. Do you know how they make money? They beg. They were born and raised here. So when all these individuals, the Ayaba, the Chris Anu, all these individuals come on their cameras and they turn on their cameras and they are spewing hate and they are indoctrinating you to go fight, I want you to always come back to this footage because it will give you perspective. Because where we are going, if you are slow, you'll be left behind. If you follow this foolishness, you'll go nowhere. Because this will lead us nowhere. People that are leading from the past, they can't take you anywhere. Yes, they won't help you. People that are blinded to reality, you live in the most prosperous nation on earth and you think this way, they cannot help you. They can only see the past, but they cannot see the future. And if you want to be part of that future, it is time for you to join. And we have a link right below. Join the WhatsApp group. Get enrolled in Nation Builders University. You go to school, you get a degree, you come out from school with that degree. You are not taught on how to get clients to serve them with the knowledge that you've acquired from college. We will train you how to do that. Here in America, it's the same thing. Most people graduate and they don't end up getting a job with that degree. Some of them end up with minimum wage. And yes, they do have a degree. So when people share all these stories with you and they say, go fight, what are you measuring yourself with to get to that place where you, Cameroonians, let me ask you guys a question. Your GDP is approximately 45 billion US dollars. Have you looked at poor nations in Africa and what they are going through? Compare yourself to understand where you find yourself, because it's only by comparison that you know if you're broke or you're rich. It's by comparison. Have you done that comparison? Have you done that analysis? At least benchmark yourself with other nations. You guys are doing fine in Cameroon. We are not the poorest nation in Africa. I repeat again, we are not the poorest nation in Africa. There are many poor countries in Africa, poorer than us. For us to be doing this to ourselves, it doesn't make sense. Because of poor communication, because we can't understand each other well, because we don't want to take action, because we don't want to cooperate. That's just what it is. You can disguise it under federalism, ring road, and all of that. They close our factories. No, poor communication, poor leadership, disunity. That's all it is. If we get this figured out, we'll be fine. Just like I'm bringing up an initiative for us to move our country forward. Some people will disagree. And when we disagree, that is why we will struggle. And when we struggle, we will blame tomorrow. We can be extremely prosperous. We stand the chance of exploring many markets in Africa, both the English markets and the French markets in Africa. We stand that chance to take advantage of this incredible opportunity. But can we unite on a common goal? You see what I'm saying? If you want more money. But at the end of the day, guys, you have a house that you can come back and sleep in. Some of you even live in houses and you don't pay rent. And the landlord doesn't bother you. Some people go up to a year, even 2, 3, or even 4, 5 years, they don't pay rent. You try that for 6 months in this country, you're going to get it hard. You don't pay your electricity bill on time, they cut it off. You stay in darkness. It's automatic. They hit a button and your light goes off. You don't pay for electricity bill. You don't pay for your phone bill. Do they tell you all of this? it goes off instantly. Nothing is given. You gotta work hard for it. If you're in the diaspora, back me up with this. So what are you comparing with? Okay. On that note, Friedrich Nietzsche said something in the late 18th century. He said, God is dead. And he said, and we have killed him. And some people think maybe Friedrich Nietzsche was against God. But what he was actually saying, because he's a very controversial character, what he was actually saying is that when you live life as though God doesn't exist, you become your judge. You become your own judge. Everything is right in your eyes. All of these philosophies become right in your eyes. When you pick up the gun, you kill someone, you say God forgives all. There's no judge and all of that. You become the judge. You set the standard and you live by the standard that you've set. But he that lives by the sword dies by the sword. And I just want to help you understand that Fyodor Dostoevsky said a similar thing, right? What happened? The 19th and the 20th century was the bloodiest century in human history. And when you hear about World War I and World War II, who do you think orchestrated such an event? Intellectuals. People who thought they have gone to school, they've studied, and so socialism and communism is what they should adopt. They went on to stage wars that we've experienced that led to millions of people dying. Be wise. We are having perspective after the 20th century because they had 18th century thinkers who actually laid down some of these unforeseen circumstances that they predicted that will happen in the future. And I'm saying that to help us understand that this is the dispensation for us to raise thinkers in Cameroon, in Africa, people that think, right? 16 million people died approximately during World War I. You want to hear another shocking thing? During the Second World War, approximately 70 to 85 million people died. Right? During the Armenian genocide, approximately 1.5 million people died. And it goes on and on and on. Rwanda, how many people died? 800,000 people died. And Korean War, 2.5 million people died. Guess what, guys? Vietnam War, 3 million people died. The list goes on and on and on. And I'm saying this to help you understand. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others. Smart people learn from their mistakes. That is painful to learn from your own mistakes, because you might be a victim and end up dying. Even if you're learning from your mistake, you might be going to the grave with that, or maybe you're walking with no legs, right? I don't know. But foolish people neither learn from their own mistakes nor the mistakes of others. You got to ask yourself today, which one are you? I want to repeat that again. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others, so they don't make the mistakes, because they will learn from other people's mistake. Smart people learn from their own mistakes. That is, they are going to blunder and then they will learn from the mistakes they've made. And it's painful, because some of the consequences, they will probably go through their entire life with it. Foolish people neither learn from their mistakes nor the mistakes of others. Which one are you? That is a tough question to answer. Which one are you? So when they instigate you with rhetorics of war, division, cessation, and they have all of this sophisticated rhetoric. Never, never, man, keep quiet. Like I've said, some people think maybe they are invincible. We're gonna get you guys to book. I guarantee you. And some of you, oh, Pobia, they have money, and so Pobia has not been able to get them. And I just want to let you think what is happening right now in Bamenda or in the southwest and northwest, the crisis has been subdued. Do you think it's because of Pobia? No, it's because of the people of Bamenda. It's because of the people of the southwest. It's because of the people of the northwest. That said, this nonsense is too much, and they came up with ways that they can help subdue the crisis. The people. Your own people inside, it's easy for them to bring you down faster than anybody out there that doesn't know where you're hiding. And I'm letting you know that we will bring you guys down. They have been focused on the boys for all this while. This is time for us to focus on you guys, and you will feel it so bad. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. You thought you were invincible, right? Because you're hiding in a foreign nation. No, you're living in the 21st century. You're playing in a different dispensation. And somehow, because of your primate thinking, you think maybe you're invincible because you live in a foreign nation. No, this is the 21st century. We will find you guys. You cannot terrorize and destroy our city the way you've done. Nobody will do this in Bamenda. Nah, I guarantee you. I was born and raised there. You will not mess up that city with all this victim, myopic, poor politics that you guys are trying to play, all this cheap politics that you're trying to play. You will not destroy that city. You will not destroy our people. You won't do this to them. I guarantee all of you. Watch and see. This is a different generation. We are taking responsibility. No victimhood here. We are not blaming anybody for anything. We are taking 100% responsibility. We will not fold our arms and be 60 and 70 and sing this kind of song. We are fixing the problem right now so that we can build and move forward. And if you're still fooling around thinking some hope lies in what these people are doing, you tell them what is the vision. They cannot show you a vision. Gojin Dinka is their mentor. He's about 94 years. They don't have a goddamn vision, and yet they are out there running their mouth. You say, oh, Eritrea, this. And when all of a sudden, when you hit them up with that and say, you're talking about Eritrea, really? And all of a sudden, they jump up and they say, oh, now we're talking about Norway. Really? Without a vision, people perish. People with no vision and no direction. Most of these people with rhetoric, they don't have a vision. They just keep regurgitating words, and you hear it thinking like they will say something reasonable after they go on and quote all those jargons. Nothing comes out. Nothing. Just shut up. You have nothing to offer. And if you're listening to me, you're a Cameroonian, I just want to let you know, if you're following this kind of clowns because they have age and they have PhDs, you are as blind as them. If you are listening to them and somehow you persuaded yourself thinking that they make sense or something that they're saying makes sense, oh, we have been marginalized. Man, people are marginalized everywhere around the world. You've not seen suffering. You've not. That's why I asked the question, what are you comparing it to? These people have just destroyed your life from birth. All the NCNC rhetoric, 1961 rhetoric, destroyed your life. They've done this to you. They are your enemies. Those are the people you should be fighting. Enough is enough. And I'm saying this to say, wake up. And that is why I'm not just coming here to talk like everyone else, just have a YouTube channel to talk. I have a 20 years plan for this nation to help build the economy in the private sector. Transformation is not done through power. Steve Jobs never built Apple because he was a government worker, because he was a member of the government, or because he had control over resources. No. All the great individuals that you can think about in this dispensation never got where they are because they worked for the government. They are where they are today because they are creative. And that is the spirit that I'm bringing to you. 20 years project. that can transform your destiny for good. And you keep all the small talk and blame and victimhood language out of the window so that you can focus on what is important and spend your time wisely and listen to the right people. The people that you listen to can either derail your life or lead you to the direction that you experience enormous prosperity and blessing for your life and for your children and for the next generation. 20 years. We are focusing on the 7 industries that are transforming the global economy. Hard work in the private sector. This is not government work. This is not some socialistic idea. This is what has worked for Americans, and that is what we will emulate back home. The plan is to train 3,000 Cameroonians. Cameroonians who speak French and who speak English are coming together for economic prosperity. This is unheard of, and it has not happened in our country for the past 64 years. Cameroonians who speak French and English are coming together for economic development. 20 years project. We will move our GDP from 45 billion to 1 trillion US dollars in the next 20 years. China copied America for 30 plus years. Today, they are approximately 17 trillion US dollars, while America is 25 trillion. China is 17. In 1990, China was approximately 300 billion US dollars. Today, over 30 years, copying a great nation, they are 17 trillion. You speak English is a plus already. So you think if you learn the coding, you learn how to build businesses the way Americans have done. You learn how to build houses the way Americans have done. You learn how to operate the financial sector like Americans have done. You learn how to get into renewable energy and be able to make enormous money for yourself, just like Americans have done. You think if we model these 7 industries in the next 20 years and no argument, everybody cooperate in the next 20 years, we will not be able to reach 1 trillion? You think so? In the private sector, no government, no power. Because everybody is looking at, like every Cameroonian today want to become a president. People see presidency as that position of being a president as a trophy. They don't see it as a responsibility. It is huge responsibility. It's not a trophy. And that is why everybody want to get there. They think maybe if you get there, then things will change. No. We'll build in the private sector. America, 90% of the jobs here are created in the private sector, not the government. Ask your brothers and sisters abroad if they are working for the government. 90% of them or more are working for an individual in the private sector. This data. And that's all I just did. I just look at the data. And then I was like, it makes sense. And then I'm like, why don't we follow this? Why are we hearing this? Why are we instead following this? Why are we doing this? And this is how I started asking questions. And I'm able to make sense of our own problem. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. I just look at the data. I look at the trends. Look at China. I look at South Korea. What did South Korea do? South Korea was able to say, hey, we are scattered. We're trying to do everything. Let's just focus on the few industries. And South Korea, a very poor backward nation, was able to achieve this level of prosperity within a short period of time through specialization. So the strategy we are using is specialized modeling. You specialize in the 7 industries that are transforming the global economy. You model a great nation like America. Over 20 years, poverty is over. It's that simple. You don't need too much mathematics arguments. It's that simple. When you're modeling, there's little time for argument. There's little time for debate. Because why? It is what has worked. And anyone that comes and tries to preach or tries to distort what you're trying to do, all those kind of people are confusion, right? You just take them out of the way. Like, goodbye. You got to be very selective to who you listen to. If not, you find yourself in another shenanigan like this. It's that easy. And that is my vision for our country. If 3,000 Cameroonians are experts at the international level, just like you see, like top experts in these industries, they will build businesses. They will employ fellow Cameroonians and will come out of poverty. Hard work. Right now, we are building a software company, and we are also building a marketing company, because most of you never learned this in school. You're learning here how to market, how to go out there and acquire customers with the knowledge that you have in your brain. We're building softwares that will help solve complex problems in businesses in Cameroon. You either join this, or you go join Amber, or you sit on the side and begin to argue and pick up the phone and talk for hours with a friend about how you feel like the nation would have been. They would have made your ring road. They would have done everything that they promised you. Nobody promised you anything. You have failed yourself. You think the president shouldn't fail you because you look at him and you think he is a superhuman. Everyone has failed themselves in one way or another. And the earlier you come down at the level of humanity and look at people and just understand they are humans and they are flawed. No one is perfect. Even Jesus Christ was perfect. They still find faults in him. They still find some fault in Jesus Christ, even as perfect as he was, and crucified him. So I just want you to settle with that. Because when you hear Jesus, you think about this hypothetical creature. Yes, you can look at it from that perspective, but it's the fact that no human being won't be criticized, and that includes our president, and that includes every leader, even the leaders that have emerged. What has happened? The people have criticized them. There's no leader that has emerged that you guys have said is perfect. Even within your so-called Ambazonian struggle, you've not said that leader is perfect. You've criticized each and every one of them. You've criticized their policies. You've criticized their strategies. Even this taxi idea of change the color of your taxi, it has been criticized. So everyone will be criticized and everyone will be crucified. Like if you go down home, if Ayaba go down home right now, the ADF boys will kill him. I guarantee you they will take him out. Why? Because I'm connected with them. Do you think they feel good about him? No. And this is the staggering reality. And my people, I just want to let you know, let's not be deceived. We are smart. Let's use our brain and let's come together and build something amazing for our nation. All this talk and argument and what we thought would have been will lead us nowhere. All right. If you like this video, you're going to like this other episode, and you can watch it by clicking right here.